I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Welcome back. It's Tech Talk live from Twin Peaks. Red Raiders taking on UCF on Saturday. You can hear that game right here on Double T 97.3 as well. Optimum Game Day Live will start off at 7 in the morning and will carry you all the way through the Double T 97.3 Coors Light post-game show. That is a 4 o'clock kick on Saturday. We're here live from Twin Peaks where they have bigger game days and bolder fight nights. And I'll tell you what, you guys, Gus, build up the screens, and sometimes in life we have things built up and they don't deliver. You have nailed it. Screens as far as the eye can see, and you're in a very busy time in sports where you got college football, you've got NFL, you've got college basketball, you got NBA, got NHL, got all of these things. The Boulder Fight Nights as well. You can catch all of that out here at Twin Peaks. What you need is the Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec swivel chair circle desk, and just park it right in the middle and just keep spinning. That way, you keep your neck a little more flexible.
Probably, of course, we always broadcast from over here on this side, and it wouldn't be hard to strategically get in a at least a good 5 TV window there. And the cool thing is you don't have 4 TVs on the same thing. Right. And there may be over in the main dining room, there may be a way to capitalize the view even more. But yeah, you talk about a great place to take in some things. Even back in August when we started football season, you get a Rangers game on over here, a couple of football games on over here. And now you could flip that and probably get in here this evening and have a Stars game on or some hoops and one of the college football games, probably the Thursday NFL game. But, yeah, this is a really good hang. And the cold frosty ones that they serve up will literally have like an icy foam on top of the beverage. I've never had that before, but I've heard that's really good. Never.
I'll tell you what, you're about to be.
Not sure how you pronounce Budweiser. Is it Budweiser? I'm not sure.
Budweiser. I think it's there.
Budweiser.
Swedish.
Okay, yeah. I think I've never had that before, but I hear it. Yeah, they those beers come out.
So
with
told
with a little icy foam on top, and that's a great way to position a sports evening or afternoon.
Yeah, and you're about to be, to me. And you can tell me if you differ from this, but to me, you're about to be in the second best kind of multi-screen season, because March Madness is my winner.
Sure.
I think that's a lot of people's winners, and especially you get the first couple of rounds, and you just have layer upon layer upon layer.
2 4-game weekends.
It's great to have all of the TV screens, so you don't have to multi-screen it yourself, and you're trying to fight it where you're looking at, and you can just, again, the swivel chair. That's where it's perfect. But you're about to be in bowl season. And that is perfect to multi-screen.
Oh, yeah. Especially as the holidays get going. And same thing, couple bowl games on in the evening or a late afternoon evening, and then get some hoops going, maybe some December kind of tournament-type situations like the Red Raiders will be in next week in the Bahamas. But those type things, you get a good interesting matchup. It's, yeah. And you know what's interesting, Clint? You get some of these, you can get a 32-inch TV on sale for $110 in a way that you go, I could put a $100 TV. I mean, I'm an advocate of a multi-screen situation. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I'm saying you can get one of those and put it in the closet and then pull it out on Sunday. You know what I mean? Because it's $100. Because we would never.
I thought you meant to we're going to hook up a TV everywhere, including the closet, so I have to walk away and put something into storage, like the old Gus mystery box.
Sure.
It's it's on in here too.
I have a couple of TVs in my chambers, my Christian Grey room. Need one in the in the little lizard's room in there, get propped up. Yeah. No, but think about it. I mean, unheard of to think about that, because back in the day, a TV was a major purchase, hundreds of dollars, and all the things. And now you can get these things on sale for like $100, and like, oh, okay, you get like, put it out, pull it out when you need it, put it up.
That's the backup
when
TV.
When your wife's out of town. When your wife's out of town and you got the one TV on the wall, and then you take the other one and lean it against the wall underneath it. It's streaming, so you don't have to hook up, but you got to turn on the power. That's it. And all of a sudden you're going, oh yeah, we've got a and that's when you look at your wife and go, isn't it time you go visit your mom? Shouldn't you?
Is that how you word that? Like,
I think you should. Isn't it?
It's been a while since you've had some face to face with your mom.
Then you drop your mom a message, and you drop your mother-in-law a message. Say, Susie wants to come visit. And
she just talks about how she's missed you so much lately.
Throw her to the wolves.
That's all she talks about.
And what you get is a unfettered day of sports viewing. You and your whitey tighties and your Cheetos,
beefaroni, and I guess cheese weenies if you're Dickens. He talks about that a lot. How much do you think he actually intakes in a year? Because it doesn't seem like the follow-through is actually that much.
Oh, he didn't punt the other week, did he? Last week when he was in all deep, his lovely bride was out of town, and he talked it up hard. Remember?
Typically, this is where I'm going. Typically, when he does, like, he'll build it up, and then if he actually makes it, like, first thing Monday morning, he doesn't, like, the world could be ending. Instead of like, hey, breaking news announcing that, he'd be like, I had cheese weenies. Pretty good weekend.
You're saying it was kind of a quiet follow-up.
Yes, I think he disappeared and backed off.
I mean, some people would just take a picture of it too. Like, dude, here we go, boys.
I don't. That's
like
the foodie thing, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, and I'm
look
not
at this dessert.
I'm not advocating it, but for as much as he talks about it, you'd think that maybe there would be a little follow-up, like here, him with this big cauldron that he's stirring, like with his little witch, with the two-handed witch
cheese
spoon.
weenie, toil,
exactly, toil and trouble.
What's premier cheese weenie lighting? If you're gonna get the bowl just right and put some sort of herb on top, just for just for the accoutrement. I'm not actually going to eat that green thing on there.
For a quiet evening. I mean, think about Dickens, though. He's kind of a loner. Like, wouldn't that be, perfect? Cheese weenies, light a candle, perfect evening alone with myself.
Now to Star Trek on the TV.
Yes.
Maction on the other TV.
Exactly.
Hey, speaking of which, so we're doing a little Thursday flip-flop here with some scheduling. And so typically, the little behind the curtain where he was doing the bottom line for me today over on 100.7 The Score. When we cover for each other, we try to cover everything that they know that that's staples for them.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
We will have a Maction story from last night a little bit later on. So you should be excited. As he called it, the tease. This is I'll just go ahead and give this as a heads up. This is like a 2-hour-long tease that we will eventually get to. Hey, we here at Twin Peaks, we have 3 sets of tickets to give away. 2 tickets each. You don't have to come and do a jump rope trick. You don't have to recite the alphabet backwards. You just have to be the first one here.
Right. You have to make eye contact barely. You can walk over to the table, grasp the pair of tickets, and walk away.
They usually make eye contact?
Sometimes they will, but if they're not even required, if you're sort of
Aaron doesn't seem like he'd like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Dickens would prefer it that way. He's not here, but still, you don't have to wait till a commercial. You don't have to answer trivia. The tickets are laying right here on this here table. You walk into Twin Peaks, you walk over here, you grab a pair of them, and then you disappear. My suggestion would be, and then you walk over to their bar and order one of those Bud Weezzers. Yeah. Never had one before, but that's what I hear.
29 degree. Mm-hmm. One of these days they'll eventually let you have one.
Yeah, I've heard I should try one.
As soon as you get to 21, they'll let you have one, guess.
71.
It's Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3, live from Twin Peaks. When we come back, talking about the Big 12, a very interesting partnership that I know at least I'm very excited to get into. Back with more next.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Welcome back to Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T97.3.com, live from Twin Peaks. Tonight on Double T 97.3 at 6, it's Red Raider football with Joey McGuire. You heard the glass break right there as we were coming in, which means only one thing, that there has been a partnership between the Big 12 and the WWE.
That's right, brother.
I always liked it when it was still the WWF a little bit more, the World Wrestling Federation. Yeah, it just sounded so good when they would say that.
What is WWE? What is World Wrestling
Entertainment?
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Well,
because they're sports entertainment. Entertainers.
That may
right?
be,
They're not wrestlers anymore.
I was told they have cards. What's the like Actors Guild cards? I don't know if that's a urban legend or not.
I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, it would. Yeah,
it wouldn't be shocking.
Sense,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The WWE, and the Big 12 Conference have announced a partnership, Gus, for the 2023 Big 12 Championship game. Now, they will have a most outstanding player WWE or mixed Big 12 Championship belt instead of a trophy. There will be a WWE star to present said belt on the field. There will be exclusive merchandise, and then there will be like stars to host a pregame hospitality event type thing. And then what I think is interesting on top of it is there is the WWE and Big 12 logo, which they already showed on Twitter today and has been kind of everywhere if you've seen this. That logo is going to be on the field and throughout the venue. So it's like
really,
it is. You were going to see the little WWE logo everywhere for this, and we already knew one thing about the Big 12 Championship. Of course, we don't know who's playing there yet. Lots of different options.
Yeah, sure.
You knew Nelly was doing the halftime show, but do you like this? Do you care?
Well, I mean, WWE's not my bag necessarily, but and so that part's fine. But here's I think a fact that we know about Commissioner Yormark. Like, he's talked openly about us being a younger league, like a fan following, and I think he's tapping into that with a number of things. And he's talked about basketball, like his thoughts about basketball as a catalyst to accessing Gen Z and some of those things are really interesting. I mean, it's a real look into demographics and media and those type things. But this is a cousin to that. It's akin to that. He's seeing the WWE following and saying, how can we tap into that? Because it's sports adjacent. And this is a really interesting way of doing it. I'll be interesting to see what the WWE, if there's much of a WWE vibe. And of course, I can't imagine the scenario in which I'll be in the arena this year. Hopefully soon, there to watch the Red Raiders. But, what that'll be, if it's just going to be like some logos and then the presentation, or in other words, would I leave that room because it's a played in an inside football stadium, domed football stadium, but would I leave there feeling more like I got more Nelly or I got more WWE?
Yeah. I just – my question is, Gus, is like, how many more eyes does this bring in? I mean, I get the want to be younger, cooler, flashier, hipper, all of that. Don't get me wrong. Is the WWE that? I guess it's interesting to make it that big of a partner. The other side is I hope they can really lean into it, right? Like, I'm going to play this situation for you. Let's say it is Texas and Oklahoma State, right? And, in a situation where Iowa State was just on the outside looking in, but they are on the outside looking in. Or like the possible three-way tie, and it's like Kansas State,
right?
Right? And Oklahoma State and Texas, they're like 3/4 through, right? And it's a dead heat. You still don't know who's going to pull out this game. And then they're in Arlington, the lights shut off. And all of a sudden, Kansas State's fight song playing, and someone, by God, that's Chris Kleiman's music. Right now, it's a triple threat Big 12 championship game, and you can tackle with chairs, and you get the barbed wire bat.
Cage match.
Yeah, well, let's lean into it. Let's change the rules.
Coaches go into a cage match. couple cheerleaders get in the scrap. I mean, I'm in. I like the sound of that, and that's sort of where I'm going with this. Like, is there gonna be a heavy influence, or is it going to be more the personality making the part of the trophy presentation, and then like pregame hospitality behind the scenes,
right?
And I'll ask you, is that a John Cena level somebody, or I don't know?
You would think if you were going to do that and you're going to have some sort of presenter, in the bag, it's going to be like someone that not just like the hardcore fans are like they're going to know that personality, right? Like they're not. Going to roll out like his name is the janitor because he takes out the trash. And you're like, who is this? Like, who in the world?
You're getting what I'm asking right there is like some C level deal. But I would also think of and again, I don't know who these people are, but like a Cena or The Rock or whatever would view this as something kind of cool and different.
Yeah.
And
like the Rock, because of course they haven't said who this is going to be.
Right.
Who's going to present this new MVP or Most Outstanding Player championship belt? But I mean, like the Rock is kind of heavily invested in football already. Kind of helps run a certain spring league.
Sure.
That didn't do great, but now they have combined there with the XFL and USFL. We're a long ways away from those discussions. I'm interested what that will look like. So you would think it would be someone like that, because I agree. If I were them, The Rock is certainly a football fan. I think Mike Cena's a football fan. This would be a cool opportunity.
You're having it in Dallas and Jerry World. Yeah, I mean,
it would seem in the scheme of things like a fairly hassle-free thing to do, unless like if you're the superstar, whatever that didn't sign autographs, you wouldn't be wanting to do this anyways. But you'd have to go probably sign autographs and talk to fans, but all that stuff you're usually doing. So it's not going to turn anybody away, right? It's not going to have people like, I don't watch that filth and I'm not going to watch the Big 12 championship game now. So, I mean, if it does, again, I don't know what percentage of eyes that brings in, but if it does, because all of a sudden, Timmy, who wants to be doing, elbows off of the top rope one day as well, is like, oh, I wasn't going to watch the Big 12 championship game, but, John Cena, I can actually see him, and I can see him at the Big 12 championship game. Then maybe it's worth it, but at the end of the day, there's also just a silliness factor to see the WWE.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll be curious to know, I would think that I would assume that the Big 12 didn't agree to this without a decent idea of what level of performer. Hey, I'm going to give you a list of 4 names, and it's got to be one of these 4, because that way you don't have some dude like, oh, Joe Blow got COVID, can't, whatever.
Right.
But, that they're not agreeing to this, and then it's like you said, all right, you get the Russian Mamba and the janitor. You get to pick from one of those two. Like, wait, who?
They call him the Iron Shin.
Exactly, the Iron Sheik and the Iron Sheik and
You do Bob Backlund. I'm going way old.
I don't know who that is.
It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Welcome back to Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3 and DoubleT973.com, live from Twin Peaks, as we are every Thursday on weeks where you have home games for Red Raider football. They're taking on UCF at the Jones. Saturday, 4 o'clock kick. Optimum Game Day Live will kick the morning off at 7 and will carry you all the way through the Double T 97.3 Coors Light postgame show. Here at Twin Peaks, several great things to get off of the scratch kitchen menu. And we had a dilemma here, Gus, because of course I'm in for Dickens today. Do we order a nacho meal out of spite, or do we get the fried pickles and then send a picture to Aaron and let him know what he's missing today? We went the fried pickles route, and got to say,
now you see,
not even a huge fried pickles guy. These are phenomenal.
Sublime.
These are fantastic.
Sublime.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
And also, I don't know if you say this, like there's a lot of places, like everyone has, like, for the most part, everyone has like Dr. Pepper, right? Well, let's go to this place. That place has a good Dr. Pepper. You do that. I do that with ranch. This place has good ranch. Twin Peaks has really good ranch.
Yeah, the food here is legit. Yeah, it's like people talk about the. My wife insists the Diet Coke at the Golden Arches at McDonald's is different, better.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
that. I think that for a few.
It's hard to
places.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I can't tell you why. But or if they do get a tricked up formula or what. But yeah, the Twin Peaks has the fried pickles figured out. And here's the deal: you come over to this table, you grab a pair of football tickets to the game Saturday night, but do not touch the pickles. You don't even have to make eye contact to grab the pair of tickets. But
when's the last time you smacked someone's top of the hand?
If you reach for the pickles, you might draw back a bloody stub, but you can reach for the two football tickets. And there you go. Saturday late afternoon, evening plans right there.
I thought as the fat guy over here of the pair that, like, I would be the danger to try to, like, reach across and steal food from, but Gus sounds like he's about to turn into like a badger, or perhaps a Wolverine.
Little spider monkey. Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Speaking of the Wolverines, we got some news about,
how about
30 minutes before we went on air, and Jim Harbaugh with the Michigan Wolverines has officially just accepted the Big Ten's 3-game suspension. And did it seem odd that it was a complete flip? Because it felt like they were headed for legal battles. You had him trying to do the restraining order the day of, when this originally came out last week before they played Penn State. Like, maybe I'm just reading tea leaves that I shouldn't be, or just grasping at straws. But it's like, okay, what did the Big Ten show you that they had found out that suddenly you're like, oh, okay, just kidding. We'll do it. That sounds good.
Yeah, I got you. And one thing that was I think the key to this, Dickens, is that this makes it all go away.
Whoa. Whoa.
Dickens, that's right, my bad. And you know what? I caught a little bit of his show, and he was plugging along pretty good. And then he called it Tech Talk earlier, and he was like, dang it, I almost made it. And so sorry, dude.
No, it's all right. I slip. I fill in here, I slip in all the time. I'm just kidding.
What was the question? What were we talking about?
Yeah. Well, just with Harbaugh,
flip. Yeah, the key there is that this makes it go away. Like, it's not. He's doing this sort of taking one for the team, and I guess from the Big Ten's perspective, they're getting some flesh. They're getting a punishment as opposed to this being litigated more or less for 2 years, and then the 2026 Wolverines get can't go to a bowl game or some deal. It's like a bunch of guys going, that was my freshman year, man. I was ready. From the Big 10's perspective, they're getting some flesh, and from Harbaugh and maybe Michigan's perspective, and a little, to your point, like, what did they show him that made him go, oh, yeah, there I am, linked to it, or
didn't know you had that.
We may never know. Yeah. Who knows? We may know someday. But all of this gets pushed away in a way that he'll be able to be involved in postseason. Am I not? Isn't that correct?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because you can now, under what the suspension is, if you make it to the Big Ten championship game, you can suddenly be on the sidelines for that. If you are in the playoff, or if you're in whatever bowl game, but if you'd have to think in this discussion, they are wanting the playoff, have a great chance at the playoff, you can coach in that. You can be on the sidelines for it. And, of course, throughout this whole time, it's just game day that you're not coaching. You're there all week through practice, instilling game plan, doing the scouting stuff, everything that he would do outside of I'm on the sideline for a game day. But from, like, if you're the Big Ten, and if you're, by the way, what a year to be, I guess, not be Tony Petitti in your first year being the commissioner. Like, welcome to the Big Ten as commissioner.
Yep.
Welcome to hell. Like, take off and be great. It's unwinnable, right? Because now you're having these conference calls and all of the Big Ten coaches and our ADs, like Jim Harbaugh, is having to get off the line so they can vent and let them know that you can't let them be in the Big Ten.
Sure.
And so this felt like the most neutral outcome, because if you're the Big Ten, you also you don't want to be dealing with this.
Right.
You don't want every single time you Google Big Ten, the first thing to come up like suspends Jim Harbaugh. They're on the old Google machine. Like, and you want this behind you.
Right. Yes, exactly. And it's not hanging over the 2024 season and the 2025 season. That it gets it done. And I think there's I've made the parallel several times between this and either the Chris Correa situation with the Astros or their sign stealing, their trash can banging, the electronic use of all the things we knew about. And it felt like man, MLB gave them immunity to tell their story, and it felt like it was almost hastily arrived at and all that. But you can see where, if you're the league side of this, Big Ten in this case, Major League Baseball in that case, and probably other things, getting it over with is just what you're saying. It's out there, and it'll be part of the narrative forever. Mm-hmm. It'll be something that's talked about 10 years from now, but it doesn't drag out for 18 months, 24 months, and appeals and all those things. And Harbaugh, 2 years from now, if he's coaching the Vikings or whatever,
right? Yeah.
And this thing
No
starts,
doubt.
and it finally gets litigation is settled and it's punished or it's punishable or whatever, and it's like his replacement is dealing with some sort of a bowl ban or some type of situation that's just, to me it's the best of both worlds.
Well, again, like, maybe this is me just trying to look into the magical Big Ten crystal ball that we'll never know. We'll never know what fully went on behind it. But it's like, did Jim Harbaugh, with what he was showing, like, oh, this could actually be worse. Like, I didn't know you had all of that on me.
Right.
Yeah, 3 games sounds good. It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, live from Twin Peaks. More when we come back.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Welcome back to Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3 and Double T973.com, live from Twin Peaks, as we are every Thursday, where there is a Texas Tech home game. Red Raiders taking on UCF on Saturday.
Speaking of Las Vegas, go ahead.
Oh, you were leading into where I was going.
I see your screen now, and you're
don't look at my screen.
Yeah, no.
So you had a vote officially pass in the Major League Baseball.
The owners.
The owners pass for the move of the Athletics to Las Vegas. Now, and you would know this better, so I'm just going to pitch it to you here. But I do have a question for you. It seems like this is basically a done deal. There's a few things they still have to get, a green light on. But for the most part, from the steps that they have taken, the Athletics will be in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. The optics of this is, and it has been to me, like, hey, the owner doesn't care about the fans. I mean, you've got a very low payroll. It doesn't seem like they've done a ton with the roster to help themselves on purpose. You had the kind of like reverse boycott in the middle of the season, where even though they are not the A's, they're voting for the Triple A's. What they're rooting for there. They're still trying to show up and show that they sell the team. First, are you surprised by this? And then the second question for me is, like, what does this tell you, I guess, from the owner's perspective of approving this? Not
surprised. It's unfortunate. because on a situation like this, much as it was with the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, the fans end up being the losers.
Right.
And some fan or father-son or grandfather-son or whatever, some generational deal. They've grown up loving the A's, and 50 years ago in the early 70s, they were winning back-to-back. They were great. young Reggie Jackson and Raleigh Fingers, I mean, they were, historically good. And then they were good again with the Canseco and McGuire and those Dave Stewart and all that deal. And
sure.
So it's not like it's just been the dregs for 60 years there. But, you've probably got a generation where, hey, my granddad told me about these guys, and my dad told me about these guys, and now it's my turn. And then it just, the team leaves, and it's unfortunate. Now, and again, the fan gets caught in the middle. The other reality to this is they have been playing in the worst stadium situation for a decade or more. We heard about this as AL West observers, specifically with the Rangers, but that when the Rangers guys would go there, they couldn't use the visitors' radio booth because there were raccoons in it or whatever it was. It was something like that, wasn't it? Possum or raccoon or a family of raccoon. So they broadcast from somewhere else. 10 years ago, like when Josh Hamilton and those guys were there, we heard about the sewage backing up through like the shower drains, like raw sewage. It's a crumbling old stadium. It's the last of the old all-purpose stadiums. In the 60s, all those stadiums that were built, I shouldn't say all of them, but a vast majority of them were a big circle, and they were built so that they could accommodate the NFL team and Major League Baseball.
It's kind of a nostalgia thing, too, especially since the team I rooted for played there in that stadium a lot. And again,
right,
there's nothing to say with the conversation, but it was just an interesting little part of it.
Absolutely. It was an era. It was an era. And then, that was those stadiums were all ushered in late 60s, certainly heavy through the 70s and 80s. And then you got to the early 90s. Baltimore built Orioles Park, Camden Yards, and everyone started seeing this is how it should be. There's sort of a renaissance of stadiums. The ballpark at Arlington was that among that generation of stadiums. But all the while, these other teams are adding stadiums and cleaning stuff up, and Oakland, which apparently as a city isn't exactly prosperous these days. Lets their stadium decline. Like the whole thing went stale on them in a way that, the fact that they're being uprooted doesn't surprise me one bit. Now, there's hope for the baseball fan in Oakland in that, Manfred and those guys have been talking for 3 years. Get Tampa Bay figured out, their stadium, and get Oakland's or the A's stadium figured out. And then we're going to talk, the next thing after that is two-team expansion. They'll go from 30 to 32, Major League Baseball. And so what's not out of the question is Oakland figuring out that, because the thing that they held on for a long time, they being the A's and Major League Baseball, was like a water development. And I don't know the area well enough to – But a ballpark down there on the waterfront, and a revitalized area and all the things. Kind of a Texas Live. Everyone wants what the Braves have, where there's a development with people moving in there, living, and there's clubs and restaurants and bars and all the things, common areas and all that. Oh, and a Major League Baseball stadium right there. And I'm sure and so that's been on the table for a while, but Oakland could never get it passed.
Yeah.
The city of, or the big dogs there in Oakland, and so they're going to be moving to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is the smallest market to host any of the Big Four teams. Now Vegas is a little different because I don't know what I'm sure there's a corporate demographic that needs to happen to be able to sell suites and then that level of dollar, but I would also think that. Them getting an appropriate number of fans to go to the games wouldn't be that difficult because we get to say this you're a Kansas City fan. I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan. Both our teams were dismal this year, but
don't remind me.
But you might be able to look at this and go, oh, okay, Kansas City, the Royals are playing at the Las Vegas A's or whatever they're going to be called. That might be a fun weekend to go out there for a little 3-day weekend and do some gambling and go watch my team play baseball or whatever. And you would think that situation is going to be present. We know it goes on already in the NHL, and it probably happens with the NFL and soon Major League Baseball. So I don't know that market size is as deciding a factor in Vegas as it might be in some other places.
We'll talk a little bit more about this on the other side. It is Tech Talk live from Twin Peaks here on Double T 97.3. Back with more next.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, double-t97.3.com, live from Twin Peaks. I'm out here for bigger game days, Boulder Fight Nights. Always a good time out here at Twin Peaks, just off of the Marsh Sharp Freeway. Gus, I have a couple things here for you, just
all right,
real quick.
I'm ready.
First, we'll do an on this day. This was 10 years ago, and this is, to me, one of the biggest hey, just wait kind of moments
all right.
In sports history. This play happened 10 years ago.
All right, here we go. 4th and 18 for the Tigers. Here's your ball game. Nick Marshall stands in, steps up, going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped off. And Lewis got it on the deflection. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Touchdown Auburn. Touchdown Auburn. A miracle in Jordan Hare. A miracle in Jordan Hare. 73 yards, and the Tigers, with 25 seconds to go, lead 43-38.
So the prayer Jordan Hare there, just a ridiculous Hail Mary there for the Auburn Tigers to beat Georgia in a play. It was like 4th and 16,
right.
2 Georgia Bulldogs crashing together, pretty much setting it to the receiver.
Tip ball, yeah, just right into, doesn't even break stride.
And it's the reason I call that the ultimate just wait moment.
Okay.
Because if you're on that broadcast, and you know, what a great call.
Sure.
They're pumped. They're excited. Cannot believe this happened. The next week is the kick 6 against Alabama. So it's like, I can't believe this just happened. You know, this just happened. Crazy game, crazy ending. And like, if only you could know what was about to happen a week later, which was, I would say, equally crazy, and then up it because it's the Iron Bowl.
Sure.
And then you would go on to play Missouri and beat them in the SEC championship game, and then just lose 34-31, I believe, to Florida State. Who Jameis Winston, by the way, got his jersey retired for Florida State, who won that national championship. But
you know, it's funny when you play that clip, the voice I hear, and of course, I've confessed to being a kind of a T-shirt Bama fan.
Sure.
My dad taught there. My mother got her degree there. My wife got her degree there. And when I was a little kid, we lived in Tuscaloosa, and so I still follow that team and kind of root for them. Not in the way I do root for the Red Raiders, but just, somebody else to follow. Obviously, they've been pretty good over the last 15 years. I rooted against them in a certain Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much. But it's funny as you play that voice, as you play that clip, the voice I hear is their radio guy, and I'm hearing the Auburn's going to win the football game on the kick 6 part of that call, and so I'm thinking, and that's interesting. The sad part about that is that announcer for Auburn, he died in a car wreck.
Yeah.
Really sad deal. Not long after that.
Rod Bramblett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And the guy that took his place was one of their had been a long time involved with their baseball broadcasts. And that's a sad deal because it ended way too soon for him. But those kind of sound clips, dude, are so poignant for me. It's like the Nadell clip still should get for generations. Mm-hmm. The Nadell clip of the last pitch.
Yeah.
It's the moment, that you can't you can't take that away, and just the genuine stuff. And Hacks has some of these calls, and getting the last hour, going to Omaha, or winning the thing to go to the or the Final Four, all that stuff. And in some ways, it's the the broadcaster's dream to be able to call that kind of moment and be that genuine with the emotion. And I really could sit and listen to those. I'm not saying all day, every day, but you and I could do a show of those kind of clips and go, what are some of the ones you love and why did you love them? And I could do some of mine, and then we could both share some of just the other really good ones, and they're just so cool. And I think they're just a little bit sweeter when it's your guy calling your team and your guy that you've been with for a while.
Speaking of not our guy, not our team, here I've got a second one for you.
Right, let's hear
this
it.
Is my covering the basis for the usual Aaron Dickens broadcast here on Tech Talk. This is a call from last night.
Second down and long here for Buffalo, and Snyder, as he fires over the middle, the catch is made. He's got Marlon Johnson. Johnson takes it into Miami territory. It's a foot race. Can they track him down? Johnson, no, he fumbles it. What do they say here? It's a touchdown. He's over the line. The signal is touchdown. The ball comes out. It's an 80-yard strike for the score. And hang on, this is not over.
And literally the thing Miami could not afford to do is give up a big play. This junction. That is before
ruling on the
he
field
crosses.
of a touchdown.
Michael Dowell.
So here's your Maction catch-up. I promised Dickens I'd do, as we did the show flip. You want to talk about a very bad beat? Very, very, very bad beat. So this is from Miami of Ohio's 23-10 win over Buffalo. That was Buffalo almost scoring. As you hear it goes to review, it is a fumble at the 1-yard line.
Awful.
This was an 8-point spread, which, by the way, if you're on a Wednesday night betting on Maction,
you are a degenerate gambler.
I have a hotline for you to call.
Yeah, no kidding.
That if you did put down money on that, oh man, what a bad beat.
Think about the Tech basketball game on Sunday, the San Jose State. I believe it was a 15-point spread. That's a 2-point ball game with 4 minutes left. Tech goes on an 18-2 heater down the stretch, and it's a 14-point game. And you're thinking, with 4 minutes left at that last media timeout, like, hey, they got to get after it. They got to win this game. And the boys in Vegas are going, hang on, get ready. They're really smoking their cigarettes, watching, and watch this, boys. Pop Isaacs is going to launch a 3 at the end of the shot clock, and that's it. And now it's a 1-point game. And then they dribble down and cross half court and dribble it out and just hold the ball like, no. It's somebody's either that or the other crowd, the San Jose State is going to cover is like, thank God he's picked up the ball. Unbelievable. The bad beat stuff was hilarious.
Oh, man, yeah, there was your Wednesday night Maction catch-up. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.